It's my life. Lazy. It's my life. I got dirty. It's my life.
Welcome back to Collect 'em All or Die Trying, the Spoiler Room's comic cliff notes. Check out my other Dark Age spoiler videos with the link in the description. Also, check out my boy Frank at Coffee and the Comic to get some Dark Ages or any other comic you might see on my channel. Also, check the link in the descriptions to find out on how you can save 15% on your next order at Coffee and the Comic. What are you waiting for? Go spoil yourself. Now, previously, a being of immense power called the Unmaker awakened inside the Earth and began to destroy the planet. When Doctor Strange gave his life to release an EMP wave to halt the Unmaker, all the electricity on the planet was wiped out. Now, 7 years later, the heroes formed a new society without the use of electricity or technology. Then, Tony Stark was abducted and taken to Europe, where the mutant apocalypse is using mind-controlled scientists in an attempt to reawaken the Unmaker. A group of heroes set off on a dark and dangerous journey to rescue their comrades. But while crossing the ocean, they were attacked by ghost raiders, pirates with demonic powers. The heroes were able to defeat the raiders with the help from the guardians of the port, but only after Nick Fury has been killed. Many heroes and lives have been lost. It was seems to be an endless war. Now, Spider-Man joins Doctor Doom, the X-Men, the Inhumans, the Avengers, and what's left of the Fantastic Four on a rescue mission across a continent ruled by a madman. But they could be too late. The dictator of Europe has heroes and villains by his side, and the unthinkable is now in motion. Apocalypse could just tear what's left of the world apart. Welcome back to Dark Ages. Now, we open up with the heroes making it to the port of Portugal, and they're having a funeral for Nick Fury, who didn't make the journey across the ocean and was killed by ghost raiders. And in the last issue, Nick Fury's advice to Sue was dead on point. No pun intended. When he told Sue she would be defenseless trying to make the journey across the ocean on her own, and definitely led by example, proving what would happen if she did just that. And now it's all tears and sad faces as the heroes commemorate Nick Fury when Deadpool shows up, welcoming everyone to Europe, asking about everyone's views on cultural stereotypes, because you don't want to offend nobody at a funeral. When Deadpool busts out his hats and accents and asks, why is everyone so sad and serious? Like, did someone die? As Gabby tells him, yeah, Nick Fury. And Deadpool's like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm so sorry. Nick was one of the good ones. Then we jump to Paris, France, where Apocalypse is asking Tony if he can accomplish what needs to be done. But Tony knows what he needs, but he needs to see the size of the problem. And Apocalypse agrees to take Tony and protect them while they're down there. And Kilgrave, he's not too fond about going down there. And Apocalypse gives him that look like, boy, don't make me whoop your ass. And Apocalypse took the mind-enslaved heroes to the center of the earth, where the Unmaker continues to sleep and Doctor Strange's body still lingers. And Apocalypse tells everyone not to touch Doctor Strange, because even though his body's decayed, his magical wards are still in place. And the last thing Apocalypse needs is the wards and the spells to break if Strange's body happens to be moved or disturbed. And it's at this point where all the mind control heroes such as Hank McCoy, Riri Williams, Reed Richards, and Tony Stark start throwing around ideas, because there's a lot of power, enough to knock out a planet, coming from such a small portal. And the theory is that behind this small portal is a neutron star, giving off an immense and constant powerful electromagnetic pulse. And they just can't just go in and just have a look, because they will be torn to shreds by the gravitational pull, which is comparable to a black hole. And Apocalypse states that he studied the Unmaker for years, every inch and every part, and has calculated that in order for him to inhabit or take control of a power beyond that of a celestial or a god, that he would need about an hour, and wants to know if containing the power of a neutron star for an hour is even possible, and can it be done, to which Hank McCoy says it's impossible, and Tony Stark agrees, but Tony's never backed down from a challenge, and Tony's mind has begun turning, and the clock is ticking. The heroes need to get to Paris, France, quick. And as Dr. Doom said back in issue 2, tick, tick, tick. Now back in Portugal, there's a little problem that Peter is having with Little May and Danny Cage stowing away on the ship after being given strict instructions to stay in Wakanda. Peter explains his disappointment to May, who's very apologetic. Then Doom goes all Dr. Phil and says that if it wasn't for May sounding off the alarm, the Ghost Raiders attack would have been far more worse than what it was. And even though he hates being disobeyed and that it's perfectly clear that May needs a firmer hand from a stronger parent suit, yo, you gonna take that, Peter? You gonna take that from Doom, Peter? Come on, do something. You ain't gonna take that, Peter. Yo, but Doom, he's got a valid point, because if it wasn't for her, everyone would be dead. And at this point, Parker's not taking parenting advice from Dr. Doom, and Jessica Jones solidifies that, as crazy as it may seem, the girls are safer with them. To where Deadpool states, it's a done deal, it's settled, family road trip into the heart of darkness, let's go to the Deadmobile. And this vehicle happens to be a classic 2-floor London bus that says Road to the Wasteland, and Wade was bored on the side. And Pepper Potts questions Wade to, why are you our guide through Europe? And Deadpool puts it pretty simple, because he's been beaten, stabbed, tortured, and shot in every part of the continent, and is the only expert in places not to go. So the heroes and a villain, Avengers and mutants, children, and yes, a dinosaur, head out on Wade's, Deadpool's tour guide of the wastelands, where on your left you'll see a burning remains of something that was seen as quite important before people realized you can feed a family with monuments of the past. Then they had to make a stop for the night. Yeah, folks, there's only so much post-apocalyptic hellscape you want to drive through without headlights. Stay thirsty, my friends. Yeah, that whole panel was a Dos Equis commercial in the making. So they stop for the night and build a campfire in the forest away from any major roads. Blade, Laura, and Gabby, they pick up a scent downwind and are aware that they're being hunted. And Blade suggests that they hunt the hunter, turn the tides, level the playing field, as Laura tells them that they need to get ready because whatever's hunting them is already there. As the three of them get stalked, Laura gets impaled by these sharp objects, to which Blade cuts her free from immediately, as Blade gets kicked to the side and momentarily put out of action. And Gabby, nowadays, is more hesitant to jump into a fight because Gabby once had a unique power, nanites, in her body, which means she was void of all pain. But the nanites lost power when the world went dark, which means now she can feel every ounce of pain and is still adjusting. With the sound of screaming, the rest of the heroes are now aware that a whole lot of danger is headed their way. But May and Peter, they can't sense a thing, and Peter is well aware of what kind of danger can evade his spider sense. And that is when Moon Girl's light makes a shocking reveal. And Peter, he was wrong, because it was a whole lot more worse than he had imagined. It was Venom and Carnage, two symbiotes mixed together around one host. The Devil Dinosaur threw himself in front of the attacks, taking the brunt of the damage, and nearly swallows this symbiote hybrid all the way to his feet and tosses him across the field. And Deadpool, he stops to point out to Laura that her insides are currently on the outside, and he wants to know if she's okay, and she confirms that the most important parts are still on the inside. And wow, what a great attitude, seeing a silver lining in the exposed stomach lining. And Peter, he's asking Wade not to be Wade right now, but he's too infatuated with the fact that Peter's webs go thwap now instead of thwip. And boy, do I have a theory for this. So, before everything went dark, I'm sure Peter's web shooters needed modifications to work. Now, with the lack of or the absence of power, because back in issue 1, Peter's web shooters stopped working when the EMP blast took the planet out. I'm guessing the modifications that were made changed the sound from thwip to thwap. You're welcome, Deadpool. I totally understand your need to know this. And now, back to your regular scheduled programming. And the heroes were caught off guard by a hybrid symbiote nightmare sent by Apocalypse. But once they knew what they were fighting, the symbiote hybrid didn't stand a chance. Not against an Iron Woman powered by a furnace. As Storm suggests Sue to shield everyone, the Venom and Carnage symbiotes are separated from his host as they are pulled apart from a loud frequency sound by a woman who was once thought to be the goddess of thunder. And this night could have gone really wrong and bad, but no lives were lost. And in fact, the heroes gained a friend because Peter notices that the host was Miles. That's right, Miles Morales, who tells Peter everything is not okay because Miles heard it all and he knows how Apocalypse is gonna end the world. And that concludes Dark Ages Part 5, and there's one more part left. And if you're liking the series as much as I am, then hit the like button. And if you like the content I'm bringing you, then subscribe so I could bring you more content just like this. And I'll see you in the comments. Peace.
It's my life. Lazy, 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 lazy. It's my life.